You're training 6 days a week and the scale hasn't moved in 2 months. Sound familiar? Most women blame themselves. They cut more calories, add another cardio session, push harder, and still nothing. Here's what nobody tells you. The problem isn't effort. It's biology working directly against you. And you keep trying to outwork a system that's actively resisting you. Research shows that women carry significantly more body fat than men by design. Estrogen promotes fat storage, especially around the hips and thighs. Your hormones aren't broken. They're doing exactly what evolution built them to do. But understanding that doesn't fix it. What fixes it is knowing which specific mechanisms are stalling your progress and targeting each one directly. This isn't about training harder. It's about training smarter inside a biological context most coaches completely ignore. Here's the first thing most people get wrong. Endless cardio without resistance training is quietly destroying your results. Your metabolism runs on muscle. More muscle means more calories burned at rest, more fat mobilized during the day, better insulin sensitivity across the board. Studies show resistance training reduces body fat by an average of 1.6% on its own, and when combined with a calorie deficit, that number jumps to 3.8%. Cardio has its place. But if you're spending 90% of your sessions on the treadmill and skipping the weight rack, you're spinning your wheels. Your body adapts to repetitive cardio fast. It gets efficient, and an efficient body burns fewer calories doing the same workout. That's the plateau you keep hitting. Switch your ratio. Prioritize compound lifts, squats, deadlifts, rows. Build the engine first. 1. Metabolic adaptation. This is the silent killer of every fat loss attempt. When you cut calories and train hard consistently, your body responds by slowing down. Total energy expenditure drops by roughly 15% after just a 10% reduction in body weight. That's not failure. That's your survival system activating. Basal metabolic rate decreases by around 5%. Non-resting energy expenditure drops by approximately 20%. What does that mean for you? The calorie deficit that was working in week 1 isn't working in week 6. Your body adjusted. Most women keep eating the same, training the same, and wondering why the results stopped. The fix isn't more restriction. It's cycling your intake, adding diet breaks every 4 to 6 weeks, and keeping your training stimulus fresh so your body can't fully adapt. 2. Cortisol and chronic stress. This is the one nobody talks about. Cortisol isn't just a stress hormone. It's a fat storage hormone, and it's specifically targeting your midsection. Cortisol receptors are more concentrated around your abdomen than anywhere else on your body. Chronic stress floods your system with cortisol daily. That means your body is constantly directed to deposit fat around your waist, regardless of how clean you're eating. Training daily without adequate recovery is itself a cortisol trigger. You're essentially stressing your body while it's already under hormonal stress. Sleep deprivation makes this dramatically worse. Poor sleep increases hunger hormones the next day, drives cravings for sugar and processed food, and sustains elevated cortisol. Lower the stress load. Sleep 8 hours. Take rest days without guilt. 3. Ghrelin and leptin. Your hunger hormones are working against you in ways you can't feel until it's too late. When you create a calorie deficit, leptin drops. Leptin is the hormone that tells your brain you're full. Ghrelin, the hunger hormone, rises in response. The longer you stay in a deficit, the louder your hunger signals get. This isn't weakness. This is a documented hormonal response. Studies show that women who have lost weight see significant reductions in leptin and cholecystokinin and measurable increases in ghrelin. That combination makes you hungrier, less satisfied by meals, and more prone to overeating. High protein intake directly combats this. Protein boosts GLP-1 and peptide YY, both of which signal satiety. 30 grams of protein per meal is your baseline. That's not negotiable. 4. PCOS and insulin resistance. Between 5% and 10% of women have polycystic ovary syndrome, and up to 75% of those women have insulin resistance. Insulin resistance means your body can't efficiently use blood sugar for energy. Instead, it routes calories toward fat storage. You can eat in a deficit and still have your body prioritizing fat accumulation over fat burning. Elevated androgen levels from PCOS also reduce your ability to build muscle efficiently, which compounds the metabolic disadvantage. The key here is managing blood sugar directly. No high glycemic meals on their own. Always pair carbohydrates with protein and fat. Resistance training dramatically improves insulin sensitivity over time. Anti-inflammatory foods, specifically omega-3 rich fish, leafy greens, and berries, reduce the low-grade chronic inflammation that makes insulin resistance worse. 5. Training monotony. Your body is smarter than your workout plan. Give it the same stimulus for 4 weeks, and it adapts completely. Muscle activation drops, calorie burn decreases. The workout that once challenged you becomes maintenance. And maintenance doesn't change your body composition. Most women rotate between the same 4 classes or the same treadmill speed for months. That's not progressive overload, that's controlled stagnation. Progressive overload means adding weight, adding reps, adding time under tension systematically. Track your lifts. Every week you should be pushing slightly more than the week before. When you're stronger, you're burning more. When you're burning more, body fat responds. 6. Thyroid function. Women are 5 to 8 times more likely to have thyroid disease than men. Hypothyroidism produces fewer hormones, slows the metabolism significantly, and makes fat loss feel nearly impossible regardless of how disciplined your approach is. Symptoms are often subtle: fatigue, cold sensitivity, hair loss, slow progress, despite doing everything right. If you've been consistent for 3 or more months and the scale genuinely hasn't moved, get your thyroid checked. This isn't a last resort, it's a basic data point. Training and nutrition protocols built for a healthy thyroid simply don't produce the same results in a hypothyroid environment. Managing the underlying condition changes everything else downstream. 7. The all-or-nothing trap. 1 missed workout becomes 3. 1 off-plan meal becomes a write-off week. This is one of the most underestimated reasons women stall long-term. Perfection isn't the goal. Consistency is. And consistency means 80% adherence over months beats 100% adherence for 3 weeks followed by burnout. Motivation is unreliable by nature. Some weeks you have it, some weeks you don't. The system has to work without it. Build your routine around automaticity, not willpower. Same workout windows, same meal structure, same sleep schedule. Environment always wins. Your results aren't built on your best weeks. They're built on the average of every week strung together over time. Here's what to actually fix starting now. 1. Replace 2 cardio sessions per week with heavy compound lifting. 2. Get protein to 30 grams per meal minimum every meal. 3. Sleep 8 hours. That one move changes cortisol, ghrelin, and leptin simultaneously. 4. If you've been eating the same amount for more than 6 weeks, take a diet break for 1 to 2 weeks at maintenance. 5. Track your lifts and add progressive overload every session. 6. If nothing is moving after 3 months of real effort, get blood work done. Check thyroid, check fasting insulin, check estrogen. 7. Stop switching programs every few weeks. Pick one, commit for 12 weeks, and measure actual results before changing anything. Your body doesn't respond to effort alone.